It was the night before Christmas, but this Christmas Eve,
Hey, you!
the unthinkable happened. Together, Scott Calvin and his son Charlie take on the biggest job in the world. He thought it was just for one night.
What if I don't buy into this Santa Claus thing?
Welcome to the Isaiah Experience. My name is Isaiah Chapman, and we're finally in the holiday season, folks. Hopefully this won't be like last year because I just need some peace in my life right now, okay? I have scoured the Christmas movie landscape to review a franchise that gets the love-hate relationship treatment. Now, some people like these movies, but some people hate these movies. Today, we're gonna find out why. Because we're taking a look at the Santa Claus Trilogy. The Santa Claus Trilogy features Tim Allen as Scott Calvin, who finds Santa Claus on his roof, which actually kills him. Ooh. Scott puts on the coat, which causes him to become the new Santa Claus. Now, what's crazy is that this was during his time on the show Home Improvement, and before he played Buzz Lightyear in Toy Story. So we can take this movie and put it first in the Tim Allen timeline. Now, this movie would get two sequels. There's the Santa Claus 2 and the Santa Claus 3, the Escape Clause. I'm gonna talk briefly about each of the plots of these movies, so you can be ready for that new Santa Claus show on Disney+. So, without further ado, let's start with the first movie. Where else should we start? Now, the plot of the first film is that our main character, Scott Calvin, doesn't believe in Santa Claus like his son Charlie. But he soon discovers that after wearing the coat, he becomes the new Santa. He starts growing a beard, his hair turns white, he starts eating milk and cookies, and has to check his list twice to find out who's naughty or nice. I just have to say that I would hate it if I had to go through this phase. Look at that list! It looks huge! By the end of the movie, Scott accepts his destiny and delivers all the toys on that fateful night in December. Okay, my opinions for this film? Well, I have to say we're starting off pretty good for the most part. I thought it was fun and exciting, and I really like the new lore they add to the Santa mythos. All in all, I think it's a great movie, but the sequel is where things start to get a little bit crazy. The Santa Claus 2 sees us returning to Scott Calvin 8 years later as Santa, who has been doing a really great job as Santa, but later discovers that he is slowly losing his Santa powers. The reason why is because there is also a Mrs. Claus that hasn't been filled out. So Scott has to find himself a Mrs. Claus before Christmas Eve. Also, his son Charlie got himself on the naughty list, which sucks. Now, you think that's all, but no. Scott creates a plastic Santa to watch over the workshop, but it turns into a villain and tries to turn the workshop into a prison. Jeez! Now, thankfully, Scott finds a Mrs. Claus named Carol and stops Plastic Santa to save Christmas. This sequel adds some new things that I think are pretty cool, but that Plastic Santa, that thing is gonna give me nightmares, I swear. Now, thankfully, we got one last stop on this trip, but it's the one that doesn't make any gosh darn sense. The Santa Claus 3, The Escape Clause. This movie, everybody knows about this, but it's the standard third film that isn't as great as the other two. It turns out that Martin Short plays Jack Frost and thinks that the other holiday characters aren't using him to his full potential. Listen, Jack, your full potential is mostly on DeviantArt, so don't ask for your full potential! Jack Frost finds a snow globe that if Santa says a little rhyme, he goes back in time, with Jack Frost, which leads to Jack Frost turning into Santa. This thing also gives me nightmares. Scott is also having a child on the way, but he has to work on the holidays. His wife Carol says he needs to take time for his family and not on his work. But I think you can give him a little some slack, because he's freaking Santa Claus! This is possibly the worst of the bunch, but it's the only one that is shown during Freeform's 25 Days of Christmas. So why? Why is it the one? You know what? That's it. The Santa Claus, the first one, is the best one. The Santa Claus 2 is bad, but not that bad. And the Santa Claus 3 is just giving me a flippin' headache. Hopefully the show is gonna be good and bring in a good story for Christmas. You know what? Thanks for watching. I need to go lie down for a while.
Meanwhile, put that cookie down now.
Twilight! What is it, Spike? A letter just came in. Oh boy, I hope it's from Isaiah. Oh no! Spike? Yes, Twilight. Write a letter to Isaiah Chapman.